ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. In this video, let us examine whether efforts are necessary to attain enlightenment, as people say the enlightenment is causeless and cannot happen by mere efforts. So, we will be drawn into confusion whether effort is necessary or not on the spiritual path to realize the divine. So, efforts are necessary in one sense, and efforts are unnecessary in another sense. You see, if you think that because of the efforts I can realize the divine and start making efforts, it will not serve any purpose and it will not happen. Suppose you start making no effort, because effort is unnecessary to realize the divine. So why to put any effort? Then even in that case also it will not happen. Why it is so? Let us examine. No doubt, enlightenment or realization of the divinity is causeless. It cannot happen by any effort. So, then what are our efforts? Is it necessary to put any effort? You see, a blind man is there. A blind man cannot see any sunrise in his life. But if his blindness is cured by any kind of method of medication, he will be able to see the sunrise with his eyes. But the medication will not show him the sunrise, and medication will not make the sunrise to happen. So, in the process, what happens is the medication, whatever is given to him, cures his blindness. So, when his blindness is cured, his eyes will be able to see the sunrise. The sunrise is happening every day. Because of his blindness, he could not see all through his life. Once the blindness is cured, he will be able to see the sunrise. Similarly, effort is like medication to the blind man. Effort makes you to be available, to be a host to the guest of divinity. See, divinity is all pervading, as the masters say. But only the realized masters could notice and rejoice in that divinity. And others are blind to it in spite of the teachings of the masters. So, how could the masters could rejoice in that divinity which is all pervading, and how we are missing it? Because we are missing it because of so many reasons. See, the main reason for missing the divinity is an illusion in us that unless we make some efforts, unless we renounce the world, unless we renounce all the life which is happening around us, we will not be able to realize and achieve that holy objective. The point here is, it is not an objective to be achieved. It is already there, available, but we are not able to realize it. So, whatever the spiritual practices prescribed in various religions is only to purify our inner illusions, attitudes, and tendencies which drive us blindly to make efforts. So, unless you put all your efforts in totality without holding anything back, total surrender, nothing is left out. So, then only you can realize and come to an understanding out of frustration that the effort will not help me in any way to realize the divinity. So, simply by hearing, we cannot realize that truth. Truths, whatever truth which is heard, unless it wells up in your own being, it is a lie for you. Simply by hearing, simply by reading, simply by listening. You cannot experience the truth. And the truth which you have experienced can only liberate you. So, when you put all your efforts, you have to put all your efforts, and those austerities, whatever you have put all through your life, and one day you get frustrated, and in that frustration an understanding arises that the humanity, the human nature cannot transcend itself and go beyond its intrinsic nature. It is only by grace from beyond you will be able to know it, and it will happen only in that moment, not before. So, efforts are necessary to realize their futility. It is not just by hearing, but it is by experiencing the futility of the effort. At that moment only it happens, not otherwise. So, we have to put all our efforts, and then only it happens. So, Buddha has penance for 6 years. That's what the scriptures say. But in those 6 years, whoever the teacher and whatever the practice he prescribed, he has done all those practices honestly, sincerely, and totally. And even teachers are surprised and amazed to see his sincerity, his honesty in adhering to the spiritual practices prescribed by them. So they have to tell him. See, we have seen the disciples who put only their efforts partially. They will not put their total efforts in the practices. Even we fail to put the practices wholeheartedly and totally. That's why even till today we are not able to realize the divine. But you are an exceptional man. Please go to any other teacher or master who can help you in your pursuit of a realization. And whenever you get realization, please share with us and do not forget us. That's what the teachers told him. So, the Buddha has put such tremendous efforts all the 6 years of his penance. So, after the conclusion or after putting the tremendous efforts, he came to the understanding that the human effort is not sufficient and adequate to realize the truth, because the human effort is an ego oriented effort. So, whatever the effort I have put in so far is out of the desire to realize the truth. The desire is a flower of the ego. So, with the human effort, it is not possible to realize and to transcend the human nature. Only the grace of the Lord will be able to help in this regard. So, he kept quiet. He realized the futility of all his efforts. You see, all your efforts which come out of your ego are very helpful to be successful in the world of matter. But in the field of consciousness, every effort will fail, and because it is born out of ego. Whatever the effort you put out of your ego will fail in the matter or world of consciousness. So, that night, Buddha realized the futility of his efforts and became passive out of the understanding that only the grace of the Lord can only help him in the pursuit of the realization. So, next day morning, when the last star was disappearing, something welled up within his being. That realization, that enlightenment happened in him. And Buddha said, after the enlightenment, that enlightenment is a gift of the existence, is a gift of the God, is a gift of the nature. And that's how he became enlightened. So,